Welcome back, and we're still looking at every single Simpsons Halloween special up until Halloween. I'm I'm, I'm gonna see if I can make it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. But tonight we're looking at arguably the best one in its friend in this series run. In my opinion, this is arguably one of the best ones. I think five has like some really strong contenders. Six is okay, but part four is arguably the bar. This is the bar. The bar got set way too fucking high with part four because there is not a weak segment in this episode. Not one single one. And this was the final episode that Conan O'Brien wrote before he took on the late night gig full time. And he was responsible for doing the wraparound segments, which is the bridging, which is Bart Simpson walking around an art gallery telling us backstories of these paintings. Now, I didn't know this before, but this was actually a parody of a 1980s TV anthology show called The Night Gallery with Rod Sterling, where he would walk around and tell you backstories of certain paintings, and then the paintings would be the story that we are going to see. I actually thought this is the final episode that actually does the bridging segments. And then going forward, they stopped doing them. I actually like the wraparound segments and the bridging segments. It just added like this camp story feel to it. I liked them, but this was the last time that we saw this. The first segment is The Devil and Homer Simpson. This is arguably one of the funniest ones, and it's mainly because Ned Flanders is the devil. That is genius. I want to shake the hand of the man who decided to make Ned fucking Flanders the devil, because that is absolute genius. You would never expect that. That was so great. And in this one, Homer sells his soul to the devil so he can have a donut. The devil delivers. Homer signs the contract. And then he says, I'm smarter than the devil. I'm not going to eat the last piece. Homer, being Homer, eats the last piece unknowingly. And and the devil comes to collect. Lisa's off. My dad has due process. And then the devil says, okay, they have a jury. The jury decides that the soul belongs to Marge because he dedicated his soul to Marge. This is the funniest one. This is funny, and it's very well paced. It's really great. Has a great ending. That ending to this day, man, is both horrifying and hilarious. It is both. And again, this is one of those times where they knew how to balance the comedy and the horror, and they did it right. And the next one is Terror at 5.5 feet. This is a parody of the Twilight Zone famous episode, Terror, I think like at 12,000 feet. They pair again, like much like the King Homer episode. This one actually did the parody so fucking well, but yet it still maintained its own identity where like it was able to raise the stakes within this show, within this episode. Like there were some real stakes here going on because this gremlin was fucking things up, and like, you know, had he got that last bolt, that bus would have gone away, man. Seriously. Bart did what he could, and then this one actually has another really terrifying ending. You know, I mean, I was a kid watching that and seeing that gremlin hold Flanders' head is like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, that is crazy. And this is arguably one of my favorite segments in the Treehouse, or in the Treehouse canon. This is one of my favorite ones. They should honestly do a fucking sequel to this one because it'd be great. And last but not least, they saved the best for last. Bart Simpson's Dracula. The only reason they did this was because one of the producers actually saw Bram Stoker's Dracula the year before and was such a big fan that he wanted to do his own thing. And they gave him the okay. They said, yeah, go for it. Here, handle. And he gave us Bart Simpson's Dracula. This is actually pretty much Dracula meets the Lost Boys. That's pretty much all you need to know. Mr. Burns as Dracula is that, again, much like Flanders, is actually the obvious choice, but it actually makes so much sense because fucking Mr. Burns is arguably one of the most evil and diabolical characters in the Simpsons canon. You know, for a long time, I'm gonna be honest, for a long time, I really hated that Peanuts ending where they all just start singing and doing the Christmas thing. I really hated that ending. I still kind of hate it, but now I feel like okay, that is earned. That is earned because again, doing research, the producers and the writers that did this segment were big fans of the Peanuts, of the Peanut Charlie Brown cartoons. They wanted to pay homage to them because without them, they feel like there would be no Simpsons in it, and they're right in a sense. So I hated that ending, but watching it, rewatching it, that ending didn't bother me as much as it used to because I remember I just fucking hated that. But this would be a trend going forward, I think, for like the next three Halloween specials where the ending is always setting up the Christmas special or the holidays. And that, in my opinion, just kind of takes away from the Halloween spirit. That's just my opinion. All in all, this is arguably the best one. The best one. Like, as an episode, this one and part one are arguably the best ones. They're the best written, they're the best stories, and they both know how to handle the horror and the comedic aspect of the animation at hand. You know what I mean? Like in the sense that they know it's an animated show that needs to be entertaining for adults, but also kind of scary for kids, but also want to keep that teenagers engaged as well. One and four do that so well, in my opinion. They know how to walk that fine line and that balance of trying to scare you. Again, if I had kids, this would be one that I'd show them because this one would scare them. This one would scare them, and I think this one would scare your kids honestly too. So I think this again. This is the bar going forward, and a lot of these other specials do not meet this bar. Segment wise, yes, because when you think about the shinning that's coming up, because that one is really good. That's a really good segment, but it's in a bad episode, which is unfortunate. All three of these segments, fire.